Have you ever wondered what the meaning of your life is? Perhaps in moments of silence, at night, when the world slows down, this question has knocked on your door. After all, why are we here? What is the purpose of everything we do, all the struggles, achievements, and failures? These doubts haunt many people. And the most disturbing thing is that many live a lifetime without ever finding a clear answer. They walk for decades in search of something that always seems to slip through their fingers, like sand in the wind. What if I told you that this question is not only yours? That philosophers, spiritual leaders, thinkers from different eras have also dedicated their lives to this search? Since ancient times, mankind has tried to unravel this mystery. Religion tries to offer answers through faith. Philosophy proposes paths of reflection. And, in the midst of all this, we human beings find ourselves in the middle of a whirlwind of questions. Am I on the right path? What really matters? Why does life sometimes seem meaningless, even when we seemingly have everything we need? The interesting thing is that the very doubt about the meaning of life already puts us in a place of deep reflection. It reveals a restlessness that is part of our essence. And perhaps it is precisely this search that moves us. The philosopher Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of a concentration camp, said that the true meaning of life is not something we find out there, but something we build from our experiences and choices. He believed that even in the most adverse situations, it is possible to find a purpose, and that, in fact, the search for that purpose is what keeps us alive. And we don't need to go through great tragedies to understand this. How many times have you found yourself looking for a greater purpose in simple things? At work, in relationships, in the small achievements of everyday life. There is something inside us that asks for meaning. And that's not weakness, it's what makes us human. In today's video, we will explore how philosophy and religion can guide us on this journey. But more importantly, how can you begin to find the meaning of your own existence? Because, in the end, this answer does not come from outside, it is born within you. Now, if you stop to think about it, the big question about the meaning of life seems to gain a new layer when we look at it from the perspective of Stoicism. The Stoics, such as Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, did not seek answers in metaphysical explanations or in distant promises of another world. For them, the meaning of life was here, in our ability to live with virtue and self-control. But what does that mean, exactly? What does it mean to live virtuously? And why is this ancient concept still relevant today? The practice of virtue for the Stoics was not about following a strict moral code, as society often imposes on us. For them, virtue was about living according to our rational nature, always seeking the balance between what we can control and what is out of our reach. Imagine for a moment how much lighter life would be if we accepted the things we can't change and focused only on what is within our reach. This is the first step to living a meaningful life, according to Stoicism. It's not about changing the world around us, but changing the way we react to it. This view contrasts sharply with more modern philosophies such as utilitarianism, which suggests that the meaning of life lies in maximizing happiness and minimizing pain. Of course, who doesn't want to be happy, right? But the Stoics go beyond that. They remind us that true happiness is not that which depends on external circumstances, but rather that which is born from within, from our ability to face challenges with serenity and courage. And here comes a crucial point of Stoic philosophy, the relationship with death. In our society, we often avoid talking about the topic, as if the very mention of death brought some kind of bad luck. But the Stoics embraced the awareness of death as one of life's greatest teachers. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself that death is inevitable and, therefore, we should live each day as if it were the last. It is not about living in fear, but with a deep appreciation of the present. Because when you really understand that death is certain, that it is part of life, every moment takes on a new meaning. Think about it for a moment. And if you knew that your time is limited, Because, in fact, it is. How would that change the way you live today? Maybe those worries that plague you daily would lose the weight. Perhaps the sorrows of the past dissolved in the face of the realization that time is too short to carry them. This is the transformative power of accepting death as a natural fact. And it is precisely this acceptance that gives meaning to life. Stoicism challenges us to look within, to seek virtue and wisdom not in distant ideals, but in the simple act of living fully in the now. And at the same time, it teaches us that awareness of our mortality is one of the keys to finding true purpose. How are you dealing with the things you can't control? How are you using the time you have here? So, after understanding that Stoicism invites us to find meaning in life through virtue and the acceptance of what we cannot control, another fundamental question arises: where does happiness come into all this? If we live in a society that constantly tells us that happiness should be the ultimate goal, whether through material achievements, status, or even moments of pleasure, how did the Stoics see this feeling so sought after and, at the same time, so fleeting? For the Stoics, happiness was not something you pursue. Rather, it was the byproduct of something much deeper, living in accordance with virtue and in harmony with nature. And what does this mean? In simpler terms, it means living in line with our essence, with the reality of the world as it is, and not as we would like it to be. Happiness, according to this philosophy, is not something that is found in external things, in success, in money, or in someone else, but in the way you lead your life, in the choices you make, in your ability to deal with adversity with tranquility and clarity. Think about it. How many times have you achieved something you wanted, something you believed would bring full happiness, and still felt that emptiness soon after? Maybe it was a dream job, a new relationship, or a great personal achievement. At the time, it seems that life is finally falling into place. But over time, that feeling of fullness fades away, and you find yourself looking for something new, a next goal. It's a never-ending cycle. For the Stoics, this incessant search happens because we are looking for happiness where it cannot be found, in external circumstances, which are always changing. Now, imagine how this could transform your life. If happiness no longer depended on external factors, such as recognition, the approval of others, or material success, how would you live? How would it change the way you face daily challenges? Stoicism offers us this perspective, that we can be happy now, regardless of the circumstances, as long as we are at peace with our own choices and living according to our nature. This idea of living in harmony with nature is also essential to the Stoics. But beware, here we are not only talking about the nature around us, but about our own nature as rational human beings. It is accepting the flow of life, understanding that everything has its time, that chaos and order go hand in hand, and that fighting against it only brings us suffering. When we understand and accept this, we find not only peace, but also happiness. Now that we understand how Stoicism guides us toward the meaning of life through the practice of virtue and alignment with our nature, we need to expand on this reflection. Throughout history, humanity has always sought answers to the great enigma of existence, and religion has been one of the strongest pillars on this journey. For many people, the meaning of life is deeply rooted in religious beliefs. And when we talk about religion, we are connecting with something far beyond ourselves, something that transcends what is purely physical and immediate. But are these answers universal? Or does each spiritual path offer a different vision of what really matters in life? Let's take a look at two traditions that, despite being very distinct, offer fascinating perspectives on the meaning of existence: Christianity and Buddhism. In Christianity, the meaning of life is often linked to the idea of salvation, to the search for a greater purpose through faith in God. It is believed that each person has a God-given mission, and the accomplishment of that mission is what brings meaning to life. Here, love of neighbor, forgiveness, and compassion are core values. Life gains meaning as we connect with God and follow Christ's teachings. The Christian believes that this existence is temporary, and that the true purpose will only be fully revealed after death, when eternal life is attained alongside God. This concept of transcendence, of something bigger than ourselves, offers a deep sense of belonging and direction. On the other hand, in Buddhism, the meaning of life is more related to liberation from suffering. Buddha taught that suffering is an inevitable part of human existence, but he also gave us a path to overcome it, the path of enlightenment. For Buddhists, life does not have a fixed purpose given by a deity, but rather an opportunity to awaken, to free oneself from the cycle of desire and attachment that binds us to suffering. The meaning of life, then, is to find inner peace, balance, and ultimately nirvana, a state of deep fulfillment and detachment. It is not about following an external mission, but about understanding oneself deeply and living fully in the present. Two visions that, at first glance, seem opposite. One places faith in God as the path to meaning, the other proposes self-knowledge as the key to liberation. But, if we look closer, both have something in common. They offer an answer that transcends the individual, which seeks something greater, whether through the connection with the divine or with the true essence of being. And perhaps that's what most of us, on some level, seek, a purpose that makes us feel part of something bigger. This diversity of answers, whether in religion or philosophy, shows that there is no single formula for finding the meaning of life. Each path is valid for those who follow it sincerely. Whether it's through faith in a loving God who guides us or the inner search for enlightenment, the important thing is that this journey helps us live more meaningfully, more connected with ourselves and the world around us. And after analyzing different perspectives, whether it is Stoic philosophy, which teaches us about the importance of virtue, or the answers offered by religion, we arrive at a crucial point in the discussion. The meaning of life can also be found in our personal achievements. And that's the part one want to share my opinion with you. I believe that, at the end of the day, the true meaning of life is deeply linked to the process of our achievements, the battles we fight on a daily basis, the virtues and principles we discover we have, and the impact these victories have both on us and on the people around us. Think with me, how many times have you found yourself focused only on the end goal? Sometimes, we're so obsessed with the idea of getting there, whether it's achieving a certain status, achieving a dream, or even overcoming a big challenge, that we forget to value the path there. But what really shapes who we are is not the finish line, but every step we take to reach it. It is in the process that we learn, grow, meet people, feel pain and happiness, and become stronger and more aware versions of ourselves. Each person has their own journey, their own definition of success and happiness. And as much as society tries to impose a single vision of fulfillment, such as the pursuit of money, fame, or status, the meaning of life is something deeply personal. And this is where an important point comes in. What you do every day, the choices you make, how you face your challenges, all contribute not only to your development, but also to the growth of the people you love. When you dedicate yourself to something that really matters to you, whether it's at work, in a relationship, or in a personal project, you're automatically building meaning in your life. And the interesting thing is that, many times, this sense does not come from great achievements. Sometimes, it is in the small daily victories, in overcoming fears, in building something solid and meaningful over time. And this idea goes beyond the individual. When we find purpose in our actions, we inevitably end up influencing those around us. What you do to improve your life also positively impacts the people you love. And this brings even greater meaning to your journey. When you find meaning in what you do, when you realize that your personal achievements not only transform you, but also touch the lives of those close to you, you begin to realize that happiness and purpose go together. Of course, it's important to remember that each person will find this meaning in different ways. Some will discover this by achieving their career dreams. Others, by caring for their families, by supporting friends, or by working on something they believe is bigger than themselves. No matter what the path, the key is that you recognize the value of the process. because it is in it that true growth is found, and with it, true happiness. So, my opinion is this: the meaning of life is in our hands, and it is shaped by what we do daily, by the impact we have on our own lives and the lives of those we love. It's not just about getting to the top, but about learning to value each step of the journey. Because, in the end, it is the path that makes life worth living. Now we must face a truth that none of us can escape: the end of life. It is a topic that many avoid, which causes discomfort, but which is an essential part of our existence. After all, how can we understand the true meaning of life without reflecting on its ending? Stoicism, once again, teaches us to face death head-on. Death, for the Stoics, is not something to be feared, but rather a constant reminder that life is finite, and that, therefore, we must live it fully and consciously. In the end, what really matters is not how much time we spend here, but how we use that time. How many times do we find ourselves running after goals, dreams, and ideals that are not truly ours? And when we finally stop to breathe, we realize that time has passed, and we may not have lived the way we wanted. The end of life comes for all of us, but what makes this journey worthwhile is the way we live. Those who lived with intensity, with clear principles, ethics, and cultivated personal achievements that really matter, are the ones who, in their last breath, will be able to look back and understand the reason why they were here. It's not about having it all, but about being truly present in everything you do. About making sense of your daily actions and living authentically. These are the ones who, as they approach the end, have no regrets. On the contrary, they leave with the feeling of mission accomplished. How many people, when they reach the end of their lives, look back and realize that they did not live as they would have liked? That they actually spent so much time worrying about what others expected of them that they forgot to find out what really mattered to them? This is one of life's greatest tragedies. Death is not the problem, but arriving at it without having truly lived. As we reflect on death, we are forced to think about the legacy we will leave. I'm not just talking about material achievements or what we accomplish in the outside world, but about the mark we leave on people. The impact we had on those we love, on our relationships, on the choices we have made throughout life. These are the real achievements. And that's why the end of life is actually the greatest test of everything we did while we were here. In the final moment, when we face the inevitable, can we say with conviction that we knew why we came into this world? Will we be sure that our passage made sense, not only for us, but for everyone who crossed our path? The truth is that death, for those who have lived wisely, is not the end, it is only the last page of a well-told story. And when that story was written with truth, with love, with respect for oneself and others, the end is not scary. Because the real fear is not that of dying, but that of never having lived fully. And you, have you thought about it? What would you like to feel when the end of your journey approaches? Will he be at peace with his choices? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's reflect together on how we can live more fully, meaningfully, and purposefully, before the inevitable end comes. As we come to the end of this video, we are reminded of the impermanence of time and the importance of every moment we dedicate to our growth. The wisdom we seek is at our fingertips, and many other contents await you, ready to light your way. I'll leave 2 videos here on the side. I'll wait for you there.